Hi, this is something completely different. Is everyone else a bit shell shocked about everything going on right now, by the way? Anyway, so let's see how this goes. I haven't done a live stream for, I don't know, like a year and a half, and I thought it might be something that would be quite valuable to everyone. If you have any questions about literally anything now, I mean, obviously, something that I can help you with. It's definitely don't ask me something about maths, but what I mean is literally anything about training or training in isolation or how you're going to adapt your season plans or anything you need to know the answer to, then hopefully it will be here. And I'm going to try and talk about all of those things that I've just mentioned in order. What I'll do first is I'll just explain to you what this is all about. This is a live stream with the aim of helping everybody out there. You might be the person that asks questions, or you might be the person that has a similar question to something that's been asked. And I'm hoping that I'll either be able to answer it or I'll be able to guide you to where you can get those answers. And I'll try and do this every Thursday, 15 minutes stopping. And essentially, we'll see how we go. I don't know if it's going to be a successful thing, or I don't know if it's going to be a car crash, and I don't know if I've got 15 minutes worth of stuff to talk about, but I will give it my best shot. So let's talk about isolation and training. How's everyone going? How's everyone doing? Is everybody else isolated yet? I'm not currently. This light is really bad. It's making me look older than I am, perhaps. Hang on one second. No light is going to help this. But I lost my thread there. Isolation. Who's isolated? Who's not? We currently are not. Mary and I are currently healthy and no symptoms, nothing. And our schools are open until tomorrow. So if you've seen the news, if you're not from the UK, then you'll see that we are due to shut tomorrow. Our school maybe stay open with a skeleton staff to look after children of key workers, which would be teachers, which would be NHS staff, delivery drivers, police, people like that. So I'm going to be off for I don't know how long. I don't know if I have to stay in my home yet. I have to look into that. But a lot of you have been asking in recent weeks, and Adam's just mentioned just here, like, how does he get his head back into marathon training when everything's been knocked, everything's been moved? And it's not an easy answer. It's not an easy fix, because I lost the London Marathon as well. And I say I lost it, it's been moved to October. So my whole season has shifted to late in the season. My season actually really only starts in August with Ironman Copenhagen, and then I have the London Marathon in October and New York Marathon in November. But if you were aiming for an early season race and that was your predominant aim, and you'd been training all winter and following a training plan, and then suddenly it's ripped away from you, my advice would be stay with the training plan. Do it all the way up to the marathon and run that marathon on that day. Now, it might not actually be the London Marathon, but my advice would be get stuck in on the day, record it on Strava. You will genuinely feel a sense of achievement if you do that, as long as you weren't, training and trying to get to London with an injury. If everything was going pretty well, you need to get your head back in it, and you need to get your head back in it quickly, because these setbacks, they're just setbacks. They're just speed bumps. We're going to have good and bad seasons. Actually, if I'm honest, this movement of the London Marathon has done me a huge favor, because I was just careering from race to race with Achilles injuries and calf injuries, and it was driving me nuts. And I was starting to get worried about Ironman Copenhagen, what was going to happen to me there when I was trying to run a marathon after 180 kilometers on the bike. And this moving the races has given me time to breathe a little bit, and I haven't run for 2 weeks, and I'm going to up the cycling from next week is the aim, and I'm going to build the run back in once I've strengthened. So Adam, my best advice to you would be stay the course, mate. Get stuck in, carry on, and run a marathon on the day of the London Marathon. Don't stop that training plan. You will feel a huge sense of achievement if you do that. and then you can just take it down the other side for a little while. We've talked before about peaks and troughs and highs and lows in the season. You can't maintain that marathon high and then just carry on there. So my advice would be run up to the marathon. That's your plan. Do it, execute it, then come down and then start a build again later in the season for the London Marathon or whatever race you had that has been moved. I'm just using my example of the London Marathon, really. So just reading some of the comments here. 1957. That's incredible 5K time. Well done, dude. That is amazing. So I don't actually know your name because it just says Lawrence's daddy. You're going to have to actually tell me what your name is. But you started running a year ago and ran 29-minute 5K, and you ran a sub 20 this weekend, which is, hats off to you, because that is no mean feat running a sub 20. I can tell you that. Oh, Jake. Okay, well, nice to meet you, Jake. So let's also talk about adapting your training plan properly a little bit. I wanted to touch on that for you when you have had to move a race, which inevitably you will have, unless you've all got end of season races. The chances are you've got a race that has been either cancelled or moved. And the way that you adapt a training plan, there's lots of different ways, but let's talk about one of the most simple ways is if it's been moved far enough away from your original race. So we're talking months away, not just a few weeks. Stay the course, do your training, have a purpose and get yourself to that race. And even like I said with the London Marathon, execute on that race on the day, whether it actually be in that area or somewhere. But if you were planning to run a marathon, run a marathon. Then you have to give yourself a period of time to come down the other side. There's a lot of benefits to running a marathon before you've actually got to run your marathon in a race, because you get to feel how it feels. You get to experiment with what worked nutrition wise and hydration wise. So actually, psychologically, there's a huge boost behind running the distance before running your race, running the race you've been training for. And I did that when I did a trail marathon. I did a trail marathon, not the New Year's Eve just gone, but the one before, to run the London Marathon in April. I wanted to know everything about how my body would feel when running a marathon. What are my legs going to feel like? What is it going to feel like with this fueling strategy that I thought I would try, which would, the gel strategy and drinking. And it was just the biggest boost in confidence I could have had to finish that race. And even though it was painful, and it was really painful, I'm not going to beat around the bush, running a marathon is painful, but it's a manageable pain, and it's a pain that goes away quite quickly, and it's a pain that leaves you feeling, as a phrase that Mary coined, exhilarated. So yeah, you feel knackered and in pain, but you just love it, and the overriding feeling is achievement. So if you want to adapt your training plan, I would say still stay the course with what you're doing at the moment and come down the other side. Really have a real good rest and focus on maybe some of the things that you think you could put right. I realise I use my hands a lot. Maybe if I put them down there, I feel like Ricky Bobby a bit. So a couple more questions. Let's have a look. Well, thanks very much. That's Sean's poll. And Ashley, thanks. I don't say I'm a natural. I mean, this is feeling quite awkward now while I'm trying to read and talk to you. But so if you want to know about me just very quickly, my marathon time I would have been aiming for in London had I been fully fit was sub 250 for this one. I'm going to have to aim for that for potentially New York, although I know it's not as flat. I think Mary wants sub 330. And I think absolutely it is within her capabilities, no problem. She was more to do with a little bit of excitement on the day, first marathon excitement, and she over-egged it. It went a little bit too fast for the first 3/4 of the marathon and fell apart a little bit at the end. But she, that's valuable learning, and she still loved it. She would have done it again, the day after if she could have not walked like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz. But She really loved it. So that's her particular aim. I think for me, the things that I definitely need to improve on with my running is my strength and conditioning and my commitment to that. And I'm going to use this isolation, enforced home time now to really work on that, to really focus on it, because Simon Ward, who is a top guy, top level triathlon coach, he is a huge advocate of strength and conditioning and says it should be 25% of your overall training should be that. And when you feel like what it feels like to run a marathon, I'm telling you right now, definitely should be 25%, if not more, because my heart and my lungs or my cardiovascular system felt absolutely fine the whole marathon. It's just you feel your legs really going, pounding the pavement and really feeling it. So everybody needs to think about upping their strength and conditioning. I'm certainly going to do that over the next 4 to 6 to however many weeks that I'm not at school, and I've got other plans to do with being a teacher still. Let's have a look. Paul, you ran your first marathon last Sunday. Yeah, I remember you saying 1 hour 40. Well done, mate. That's awesome. Really good, even, and especially because it all started with parkrun, which is such a hotbed for breeding that love of running, and then you kind of get to the 5K and you're like, oh, where do I go from here? I love all that. So well done, really good. Ben, is there a race in 2021 I'm aiming for? There is, actually. I haven't verbalized it yet, but there is some races. I want to run around the Isle of Wight, which is 100 kilometers. That's an aim for me. It's not actually necessarily a race, I don't think, but it's something I'd like to achieve. And I also want to run the Midnight Sun Marathon on the longest day of the year in northern Norway, in Tromsø, I think it is, and you start at 8 o'clock at night and finish around midnight, and it's still daylight. And I really would love to make a vlog about that, because I think it would be mind blowing, and I really think it would be an enjoyable experience. So that's something I'm looking into, is the Midnight Sun. I don't think I'll do another Ironman, so I think I will go back to my usual race distance, the distance that I qualified for GB for a couple of times, which is middle distance triathlon, which is the one I really like, and I can go hard, unless it turns out that I have a bloody good Ironman. I really enjoy it, and maybe I will do it again, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't know if you could hear my whisper, but I don't think that's going to happen. So any tips from 1957 to 19 minutes? Some really obvious tips, but I'll say them anyway, and I don't want to teach you to suck eggs, but here's what I would say with tips. Consistency is king over anything. You don't need these huge, crazy sessions that drive you to the edge. Every now and then, that's great, and high intensity is very, very important when you're looking to really improve your speed over 5K. But consistency is king. Staying injury free, so strength and conditioning is big, especially when you're putting a lot of high intensity in. And hopefully you saw my Dan Matt chat a couple of weeks ago, the tutorial I did with him. That was a really good insight to what a fast runner does to get faster. He's a sub 15-minute 5K runner, and he does a lot of 400-meter repeats off of kind of 60 seconds rest, go again. And he does a lot of short, sharp, high quality pyramid sets, which are, running 200, 400, 600, 800 in a kilometer, and then back down the other side, trying to get faster as you come down the other side, and not running at your all out. But he says kind of 85, 90%. Those types of sessions are really, really valuable if you want to add some real speed in there with your 5K work. Even if you want it up to half marathon, getting some speed in those legs is really important. Let's have a look. Mike, you're doing an hour a day, and you're on day 4 of the 4-week plan, of my 4-week plan. For my 5K plan. Amazing. So how is that going? Hopefully it is going well. I mean, I haven't had bad feedback, but that doesn't mean that there isn't bad feedback. It's been pretty overwhelmingly positive, but I appreciate that it won't work for everyone, but hopefully it's working for most people. So I hope it's going well. So yeah, James, you're the same. You've got to look after the kids, work shifts, and get your training in. Man, I can see some night meetups as well. Like, when are people going to train when they have their kids at home as well? I mean, I'm in a very fortunate situation in that we don't have children, so I can focus on some other things like training. I've got some really, really good ideas about what I want to do to help the kids at my school stay fit and healthy while they're not at school. So I've created another YouTube channel that I'm going to put out there for parents and kids and people who are on isolation, people who are on lockdown. It's predominantly focused around my community at my school and the children there, but it will help anyone. And it's going to be roughly 10 minutes a day video of a workout or a technique or something that can help them physically or mentally. I do a lot of work on mindset. So I'm going to put that out there. I've called it the Home PE Hub. So keep an eye out for the Home PE Hub. Let's have a look. Good. Yeah, Mike, do you know what? That is important to respect the rest days. I think that's the biggest, that's the only feedback I see on the videos is when it's gone wrong, it's people that have got too excited too quickly and they've gone hard and not respected those rest days and ended up with shin splints or injuries because they have overtrained in the early days. You really need to let your body keep up with what you're doing, and that way in the long term you'll be able to smash it. You'll be able to run distances you never dreamed possible in the first instance. So keep it up, respect those rest days. Jake has a huge, okay, so anyone who has problems taking it easy, I did too when I started training. I'm not going to lie, it is a process and it's an ego process, and I don't necessarily mean you guys that can't take it easy are egotists. It's realizing that when you run, there is something hugely beneficial in staying in the really easy zones, like totally conversational run pace, almost kind of smugly good. Knowing you're doing the right thing without feeling like you're working hard is one of my favorite feelings in running. Because I know then that I'm building my aerobic base, and everyone that's going out and going hard or feeling 7 or 8 or 9 out of 10, they're doing it wrong if it's their easy run. And that's just a inbuilt thing that you learn over time, and you have to give it time. My first season, every time I went out running, I wanted to get faster than the last time. So that's a process, but it's an ego game. And like I say, I don't mean you're an egomaniac, but what I mean is you've got to train your ego to feel really good about taking it easy, because that's how you build your huge aerobic engine right there. Anything else? Let's just talk about very quickly, this is turning in from a 15-minute chat to a 20-minute chat, but let's just talk very quickly about some considerations you need to think about and I need to think about, since we're potentially being isolated, but in terms of our training whilst this coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, is going around. First thing is, hard training, high intensity training affects your immune system. Be very, very careful. And I really mean that most athletes get most ill after a race where they've raced hard, because the immune system is completely suppressed after that for a while. And my advice and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a lot of base work, long, easy sessions. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I'm doing Ironman. That's what's needed anyway. But I'm not going to be pushing myself to the point of feeling exhaustion or overexertion, because I think that's when my immune system comes down, and we probably owe it to ourselves to stay healthy or give our immune system its best shot at this point in time with this virus at the moment spreading. So the first thing is, remember that hard training, it affects your immune system. The next one is, this is a perfect opportunity to address the area of most neglect in your training, I would imagine, and that will probably be strength and conditioning, because it certainly is in mine, and I'm going to go hard on that for the next however many weeks I'm going to be at home. I'm going hard on strength and conditioning. I'm really going to focus on making my body more resilient and able to deal with what I throw at it, because as you know, if you follow the channel, my Achilles and calves are a specific area of weakness for me, and I really need to address that, and I need to address it soon. So I'm going to focus on strength and conditioning. I'll answer your question in a second, Mike. I'll just finish this bit. And another one, and a really underrated tool, is to focus and work on your mindset. You're going to need to be resilient. And I'm going to this is what the vlog on Sunday is going to be about. It's going to be about building resilience in these times of adversity and how to help yourself. So find some videos. I love people like Gary V, Jay Shetty, Simon Sinek. All of these people have different areas of mindset that they're perhaps experts in, but they are fantastic people to listen to. Tony Robbins, all great people to listen to and research, and leading on from that, read some books as well on the matter. It's a good time for me to start thinking about. I have 2 books on the go at any one time. I have a book and an audio book, but I'm going to be able to rattle through a lot more now, hopefully. So, Mike, what kind of weight loss should you expect in a month if you finish the 6-week to 5K? I'm going to say minimal, but don't be shocked by that. You're not going to necessarily get much weight loss. What you are going to do is replace muscle or fat with muscle. So most people that I train are a little bit shocked that they don't lose weight when they start training, and it's not a kind of weight game, if you like. It definitely happens over the long term, but you will shift fat, gain muscle. So your weight may not change very much at all, but your lean muscle mass will, and your adipose will decrease, meaning that everything will feel easier and better anyway. But you're looking at them scales going, I haven't seemed to have lost much. Don't be freaked out by that. It is one of the most common questions I get from athletes I coach and people that I speak to. Anyway, I've spoken for way too long. I wanted this to be 15 minutes. It's 21 minutes. Hope it has been of benefit to you. I will be here every Thursday. You can drop in, ask me questions, anything about your training, literally anything you want, and I will try and answer it. I hope it has been helpful. I am now one more day away from literally being at home all of the time, training at home, making this YouTube video, YouTube channel for the kids, but also this one. So I'm going to be working hard, just not in school. And thanks very much to everyone for asking these questions. These are really, really beneficial and have really helped me get some content. If you've got any questions you want me to answer next week ahead of time to give me some time to prepare, shout me on, comment on this video right now, even if you're watching it at a later time, and let me know, and I will do my best to answer them next week. Okay, I'm off. Talk too much. Peace out.